Hi everyone. Today we're starting a new unit on simple biographies. And you may ask, what is a biography? Well, a biography is a true story about real people. Okay? So all of the books in this unit will be about real people, and you're going to get to learn some fascinating facts. Our first book in the unit is Zora, Hurston, and the Chinaberry Tree. It's written by William Miller, illustrated by Cornelius Van Wright and Ying Ha Wu. Zora Hurston loved the Chinaberry tree. Her mother taught her to climb it one branch at a time. From the tree, she could see as far as the lake, as far as the horizon. Zora dreamed of fishing in the lake, catching brim and catfish in the moonlight. Zora dreamed of seeing the cities beyond the horizon, of living there one day. And she's sitting in her Chinaberry tree. But only boys fished in the lake. Only men traveled to the cities. Zora watched with envy as the wagons rattled down the dusty road. Her father told her to wear a dress, to leave tree climbing to wild boys who had no better way to spend their time. He told her to read the Bible every day, learn verses she could recite in Sunday school. He warned her about girls who didn't obey their fathers, girls who didn't grow up to be young ladies. You can tell she's listening. Pretty. But Zora only listened to her mother. She taught Zora that everything had a voice. The trees and rushing wind, the stars in the midnight sky. She taught Zora that the world belonged to her, even the lake and far-off horizon. So Zora went everywhere. She walked into the town store and watched while the men played checkers. She asked questions and more questions until the men taught her how to play. She followed boys to the edge of campfires, listened while their fathers sang about John Henry, a man so strong he swung a 9-pound hammer from dawn till dusk. She learned about Death, the great square-toed one who lived in the west. Death sat on a platform made of palm leaves and ruled with a sword in his hand. Zora learned about Africa, the place where she and her people came from. In Africa, they had been kings and queens, builders of cities that stood for thousands of years. They worshipped gods who ruled the sky, the mountains, and rivers, the stormy sea. One morning, Zora's mother didn't feel well. She told Zora not to worry, that soon she would be well again. She told Zora to go outside and play, to climb her favorite tree. But Zora couldn't play. She saw how tired her mother was. She saw the pain in her eyes. Day after day, Zora sat beside her mother's bed, telling her the stories she had heard beside the campfires. Her mother smiled and asked Zora to always remember what she had learned. Stories, she said, kept their people alive. As long as they were told, Africa would live in their hearts. Zora promised to remember. Zora's mother slowly got worse. Men and women came to sit up with her through the long, hot nights. The town doctor came. He gave her pills and shook his head, walked sadly away. Even the root doctor tried his magic. He rubbed snake oil and mustard salve on her face. He burned a tall white candle beside her room. But nothing worked. Zora was sitting in the parlor when her father told her she would not see her mother again. That's salve. Zora felt as if she had died. She watched while the old people stopped the clocks, put sheets on the mirrors. She watched while the women cried and the men stared at their Sunday shoes. But then she could sit no more. Zora ran from the house, ran all the way to the Chinaberry tree. She climbed the first branch and the next, climbing almost to the top. A sparrow sang to her in a voice like her mother's. The sparrow told her not to give up, to climb even higher. From the top of the tree, Zora saw again the world her mother had given her. The lake filled with fish, the cities where she would tell people all she had learned beside the campfires. Zora promised her mother that she would never stop climbing, would always reach for the newborn sky, and always jump at the morning sun. Author's note. Zora Hurston was born in 1891. She grew up in Eatonville, Florida, the first all-black incorporated town in America. At an early age, she was exposed to the rich oral tradition of her community's stories, songs, and folktales that celebrated African American life. Zora attended Howard University and Barnard College, where she studied anthropology. She traveled throughout the South recording the folktales of her people. She published these stories in a collection called Mules and Men. Zora was also the author of many works of fiction. Her most famous novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God, is a classic of African American literature. And that is the end of Zora Hurston and the Chinaberry Tree. I hope you enjoyed the book.